So if Americans are willing to allow the people of Guantanamo Bay to be uncharged, they're sitting in there not even knowing why they're there, day after day after day after day, year after year, decade after decade, without being charged, then that is the fate you deserve. Because all men are created equal, you see. So the elite know that. And they've instigated this detention program right in front of Americans, getting ready, because this is the Fourth Reich. The Third Reich had concentration camps. They had death camps. And that's what we have here in the United States right now. They all have gas. They all have rail. They have everything that Hitler had, because Hitler's program was not Nazi. Hitler's program was the House of Rothschild. And the House of Rothschild is running the program now in the United States. So this guillotine stuff you see, it's real. These boxcars, they're double-decker, and they have chains so they can bind you. That's real. And it's coming to the Americans, and you are like the frog in the pot that's becoming warm, and it's going to boil. And you're just going to sit there until you're dead. That's what's happening. But you know what? I have to agree with artificial intelligence. I have to agree with the House of Rothschild, Council on Foreign Relations, Trilateral Commission, Bilderberg. I have to agree with all of their assessments that if you're that damn stupid, then that's what you deserve.
Yeah, but this is the problem, Terrell, is that, you know, they're sticking crap in our food and our water, chemtrails in the air, they're hitting us with vaccinations, creating where people don't even have the time to try to find out what's going on. I mean, it takes a lot to, you know, research this stuff, and you got to immerse yourself in it. And then what are people going to do? I mean, look at the statistics. 70-80% of the people, they don't want any more war. They don't want nothing with Syria. We don't want Guantanamo Bay. We don't want traffic cameras at traffic lights, cameras everywhere. You know, 90% of us don't even want to live in the type of demonic world that they set up. But what can you do about it? They'll gun you down, or they'll throw you in a cage. There's nothing you can do. And when you do see people that stand up to it, or, you know, try to expose it, then their cars get blown up, they get murdered or disappeared. So, you know, I mean, what can you do? Go ahead.
Well, like 9/11 is too late. You know, this is more than a decade later. It's too late. And it's like your children, the things that you teach them. When they make mistakes, then there's a penalty. That's the way it goes in life. And America has already made the mistake. It's already passed. There's no trying to fix it kind of thing. The people that are in power, but you know what? People like myself, people with technologies that you cannot even imagine, they are penniless, and they're not seeing the light of day because of the way that the things are. People that occupy the mind are the bad guys. And therefore, we've created our own reality. This is what's supposed to happen. Christ says that the many are on the road to destruction, the few are on the path to life. If the many are on the road to destruction, this star is coming in, and guess what? It's going to fulfill that prophecy, because 90% of the population lives by the shore, and whenever the magnetic effect from the other star tips us over, the ocean is going to rush over the shore and kill 90% of the population. Like in the days of Noah, you know, and like in the days of, you know, this thing has come before. So we have historical precedent. If you go look at Nibiru from the Sumerians, we have precedent that says this happens. And the warning signs are all there. The seismic pattern going back to 1965 is there. You know, what I'm sharing with you. The magnetics that's happening in our planet, not just our planet. The spot on Jupiter is becoming opaque. Why? Superstorm on Saturn when it passed through Leo. Why? Is there a common denominator between those events and our magnetic pole migration and magnetosphere flipping out?
Well, hang on, Terrell. We'll be back in just 2 minutes. Okay, welcome back, folks. Welcome back. You're listening to Revolution Radio at freedomslips.com. This is Changing Reality, the most important things. There's also Black Star Thursday, where we deal basically with the biggest thing that's happening in the solar system. And that is, we got a black dwarf star coming in here, upsetting everything. And from all accounts, it's going to kill a lot of us. I mean, there's so many witnesses, so many ancient civilizations and geographical things. You can find this. I mean, seashells in Texas on top of mountains. You know, it's nearly indisputable now, but some people want to say, well, no, it's not true.
And for some reason, Hijacker, I think you're thinking about Pattie Brassard. If you wanted to move on to that.
Right, Pattie Brassard, right. Okay, so basically her worldview is this: the reptilians are in the ground. They basically control the Greys. They're the ones calling the shots through their, the Luciferian hybrids, their children on the earth, the, reptilian human hybrids. And that there's this galactic federation of light that's coming to this earth, and that it's a brown dwarf with orbitals is also coming through, and the Galactic Federation of Light, because the people who are running the earth now broke the treaty, some type of treaty, and started to benefit themselves and rip everybody off. She says the Vatican is now shut down. She says on the 13th, the Queen was supposed to resign. That didn't happen. She said that Barack Obama, he was going to have a disclosure before he went on vacation, Martha's Vineyard, and he's refused to do it. She says that the military bases and the embassies are closed down because all these people are coming back into the to go to their DUMBs, their deep underground military bunkers, and that's already starting to happen. The royal family's already evacuated. They're already in Denver, and there is some signs of great motorcades and many, many planes have gone out to Denver Airport. That was last weekend. And so she says by the 17th, which is in 2 days, that there's going to be a massive, massive earthquake here on the West Coast. It's going to affect the whole Pacific Rim, something like 15. I don't even know how you get to a 15. If people knew magnitudes, that would be like the whole Earth shaking. And then it's going to be big waves and things that you talk about with your black dwarf star, except your timeline, but she's got no correlating 188-day cycle and no predictions. She's just come out of nowhere, and she's got a lot of the stuff right. And this is my problem, is that if she was COINTELPRO or some kind of psych warfare opt, I don't understand why she would do what she's doing on such a short leash in a very constricted time frame. Because face it, if nothing happens the 17th, 18th, 19th, if the Northwest does not get hit with a big giant quake, Seattle, pretty much they've used her up. She's just, boom, she's a flash in the pan. And that's the one thing I don't understand, Terrell, about her being used as an op. So, anyways, what's your comment on Pattie here?
Okay. Well, you had a lot of points there. Returning to the bunkers. This is training, orientation. This is what is going to happen whenever the real event happens. This is what they're preparing for. But here's the problem for the people that work for the House of Rothschild that have reservations. They've got big plots inside of the underground Ark City. This is their problem, that some of the people they're working with in the real world are not coming. And some of those are these dignitaries you're talking about. So everybody's called home. The ones that are going to the underground Ark City programs are given their orientation for how things are going to be when it's real. These other people are being brought home too, but they're also being oriented to run right into harm's way. It's a different program for them. They are sleepers. They don't know what's happening. Like the commanders at 9/11 for the Navy Command Center. They're called by the state of New York, Lieutenant Governor, and then they just run right into that secure facility inside the Navy Command Center, and they were murdered. And that's what's going to happen to a percentage of these people that are being called home too. Everybody's going to go back to where they were because we're too early in the orbit cycle. We're too early. This is going to happen in 2015. It cannot happen sooner than that, according to the modeling that I'm looking at. And
so your feeling is also DC is cleared out, but that's because I know politics. I know August is when Congress goes into recess for like 6 weeks. That is not abnormal for DC to be empty in the month of August. Plus, I grew up in DC and it's hot. I mean, it's the worst weather in August. But anyway, so you're saying that closing the embassies and everything, that sort of the month of August is to acclimate everybody, get them organized, show them where they're going to go, sort of run a drill, so to speak, for the elite of the world, and give everybody a chance to get acclimated with.
Yep. But there are events that are coming. This is important to realize. There are real events, and they don't know themselves how severe they're going to be. So because they don't know, they are playing this war game at the same time. The critical period begins after September the 15th. And the reason is because the magnetic portal connections are going to cross on October the 10th. So as the angle gets smaller between these connections, they start cross-firing, right? And it's worse each cycle because like I was saying earlier, the passive conduits on the exterior of the magnetic portal connection running between these large bodies, that's disappearing. So as they get closer together on these alignments, then cross-firing causes electromagnetic waves. Those waves go toward the sun, and the sun feels like the Earth is coming because the Earth is inside of a gigantic electromagnetic bubble. They're like Saturn, like the planets. It's protected. It's from the magnetic bubble, like I said earlier. I don't believe NASA about how the magnetosphere is formed. They say it's from the core. It's not. The core is the conductor. The source is the sun. And it's the electromagnetism through that magnetic portal connection that creates our own magnetosphere. So this other sun coming in, the second star, we're in the headlights of it, and we're going to be in the headlights of it for so long before we develop an extra magnetosphere. It's going to be an extra belt coming in. But that's the protection that our planet needs because it's in near proximity to that star. So this is the natural balance of things in our solar system and in the universe. That's the way it works. So when a sun has a planet, the planet not only circulates around it and is fed by the solar wind and things, but the envelope that surrounds it is created by the power of the sun through that magnetic portal connection. It's very important to realize that magnetic portal connection between the sun and the Earth disconnects and reconnects every 8 minutes. And we receive the most magnetism in the month of January, around January the 4th, perihelion, when we're the closest, and the least amount in July. But the star coming in also has a magnetic portal connection to us, and it's getting closer and closer each year. So the patterns are, you can see patterns in the seismic cycle, in the magnetic pole migration, and the mass animal deaths. Magnitude of quakes have been increasing. They went parabolic in 2005 to 2008. 6 to 8 magnitude quake events have gone parabolic. It's going straight up. We're having so many of them. That wasn't true for the last 100 years. Something's changed. Our heliosphere has shrunk by 25% in a single decade. Why? NASA should be trying to tell us why. And they're not, because they know why. It's because of this binary twin that's coming in and getting close. So as I see the magnetosphere shrinking, the sun is becoming darker, but that's a symptom of solar maximum, like we were saying earlier. But solar cycle 24 is flatline, and we're still getting the symptoms of solar maximum. The sun is like trying, like an engine, to start over, and it cannot reach it because too much energy is being siphoned off by the black star. So you're going to see a flat line that continues to run across. You're going to see a sun that is continuing to try to reach solar maximum until these dark holes become larger and larger and encapsulate the entire sun. That's what's going to happen. And if you go to, for example, Matthew 24, verse 29, you'll see that Christ says the sun becomes dark, does not give forth its light. And if you go to Revelation, then you're going to see the sun becomes black as sackcloth. The moon does not give forth its light. And that's the reason why. It's because this black star came from Moses and Noah, and it's coming now to start the day of the Lord, and it's going to come again at the end of the age. It's about 3,658 years from what I can tell.